Good evening, good evening. It's another Tuesday with a mental catalyst. I hope everybody had a wonderful Easter and they're back into the groove to work. So, this is session 13, I think. Yeah, entitled The Chess Match. Last week's session was titled The Media Tycoon, and I think the main highlight of that was that most of the things we learn or most of the things we go through in life, whether they are good or bad, those lessons are kind of stored in our subconscious somewhere, and unknowingly to us they pop up when sometimes we need to leverage them to move on in life. So that was, I think, the key highlight from the previous session. Today's session is titled The Chess Match, and for those who like strategy and like chess and like to win and like to succeed or stuff, I think they'll find this a little bit more interesting. So this morning, when I woke up in the morning, I think the first thing I did was obviously check my WhatsApp, and I got a ping from a very good friend, Tim, who I happened to be working on a project with. And whilst we were, sharing updates on both sides, he asked me, whether I had taken a personality test. And I was like, no, I don't remember taking one. So he quickly shared a link, and I went online and took this personality test. It took about, no more than 3 minutes, between 2 to 3 minutes, and I took the test. And the result of my test was that it had tagged me or concluded that I was an adventurer. Okay. And when I saw it, I shook my head and I smiled because it's so right. Because when I look back at my life, I think my life has been filled with a lot of adventures. And being described by a personality test as an adventurer, I think it's very interesting and also on point. So, so whilst I thought through it, it dawned on me that, as an adventurer, most of you, most people who have watched movies in the past, where you watch adventure movies, where the adventure goes into the jungles, looking for some lost city or looking for some treasure somewhere, and they have to fight lions, have to fight anacondas, big snakes, they have to fight, natives with spears and all sorts of things, right? So basically, what it means is that as an adventurer, you're going to be bruised. Okay, whilst you seek your purpose, you seek your dream, you seek your treasure, you're going to be bruised. You're going to end up with broken limbs, broken fingers. Sometimes your skull may crack, and they may have to bandage it. But you have to find your way to survive in the jungle. Sometimes it's going to be sunny. Sometimes it's going to be filled with a lot of rain. Sometimes it could be flood. But in all of these things, you have to survive as an adventurer. So when I look back at it, I was like, wow, that's interesting. So I am Michael the adventurer now. Okay, good. So the chess match. So picking up from where we left off in the last session, I talked about how now I was going to come back to Africa to set up CoreNet, which is basically a transaction processing company. But here are the components that make up a transactions processing, business, right? Largely on the technical side. You need what we call the EFT switch, which is electronic funds transfer switch. That is the heart. That is the main software that drives, all the different devices or nodes that you may have on your network, right? Then you have what we call, obviously, the ATM, automated teller machines, okay, whereby you can go to the ATM and the ATM will disperse cash to you. So that's the ATM itself. So we have cash dispensers, and we have the automated, teller machines, which are basically the intelligent machines. Then you have obviously your ATM card or your debit card. Okay, so back in the day it was Stripe. Okay, then you have what we call the host security module, HSM. So in trying to set up, I realized that I needed to have all of these pieces, and I didn't want to come back to Ghana to sell boxes, meaning that I was just going to be pushing ATMs or pushing HSMs or pushing, the cards. So what it meant was I had to figure a way to come in with a new model, which was not prevalent in Ghana at the time. Excuse me. It was not common in Ghana at the time. We had MTNCR. Yeah, what's happened to my voice? Which is South Africa. Pardon me, why? Somebody's holding my voice. Now, like, today we'll finish this video. Okay, so basically, on the ground in Ghana at the time, that was about 2005, the biggest and the most powerful player on the ground was NCR, which had been in Ghana since independence, right? And all the big banks that had the muscle, the financial muscle to really, deploy ATMs and EFT services were on NCR. There were three big brands in the world. Okay, you had NCR, you had Diebold, and you had Win Connectstove. NCR and Diebold were American brands, and the Win Connectstove was German. Diebold was already NCR was already taking, given that they had their own office in Ghana. Winco was also taking, and the only one left was Diebold. Now the top three brands are NCR, Winco, and Diebold. So what it meant was that if I wanted to be a relevant player, that means I had to get Diebold at all costs. Okay. So now in all the components that I mentioned, the most critical to my model at the time, which was basically an outsourced model, meaning that we will come in and provide a turnkey solution to the financial institution. So we provide the switching services, the ATMs, the pin millers, the cards, all of that, and all they have to do is just consume it instead of buying the individual components. And our target was basically the local banks that did not have the muscle at the time to do these things by themselves. So financially, they were a bit constrained. And then secondly, also human capital in terms of knowledge that was required to pull all of this off. So the turnkey model made sense. So now, if I'm not able to secure Diebold, that means that obviously, the plan was not going to work. So as I researched and I got a contact number for Diebold in Ohio, and I started talking to them, and they kept on saying, and then I think we kept on talking, and they were like, you know what, we are almost at the tail end of giving a distributorship to a company in Ghana. More so, the requirements to get Diebold distributorship, you have to have been in business for a good number of years. You have to submit a 3 years financial statements. You have to submit references from your customers. We have to verify all of these things because this is serious play. Okay. Now here I was, the company was not even registered at the time. I didn't have any track record on the ground. I was barely known on the ground. And I also knew that, look, if I did not secure Diebold, that was it. And I knew that, look, this was do or die. Now, Diebold was a company that was founded in 1859 by Charles Diebold. Okay? Today, Diebold is 162 years old. So it's a well-established old dog, solid. So at that time too, I found out that there were three big companies on the ground that were also vying or fighting for the Diebold distributorship. You had Sambus, later became my good friend Samuel Aboa, his past. I think he was a forerunner. There was another company, then there was my good friend who was also a competitor, Glidestone, was in there. These guys already had things on the ground, had checked almost all the boxes. So I was the least qualified to get what? A distributorship. But keep in mind that in my life, I've always come from behind to get on top. So I knew that, look, even if there was a tall order, I could do it. So then what I had to do was to switch into eagle mode. And eagle mode means that, look, as an eagle, when the storms are coming, the eagles fly above the clouds, yeah? And eagles are the only birds that are able to fly above the clouds. But then when you're up there at that height, you are able to see things strategically. It's just like looking at a chessboard. Then from there, I started plotting. What moves do I have to make to beat these guys to secure Diebold distributorship? Because if I don't secure Diebold distributorship, I knew the game was over. Okay? So then I remember what I did was, I think it was about a Wednesday. I was talking to the Diebold guys in Ohio. And I said to them, you know what are you doing on Thursday morning, 10 a.m.? Is it okay if I come by? They're like, Michael, you don't even have a registered company. You're not on the ground. From what you've told us, you're starting. And I said, please do me a favor. All I need is an opportunity to have a conversation with you. No hard feelings. If after the conversation, we don't get to work together, I know I did my part and you did your part. And I know you guys are fair guys. That evening, I took a nap about 2-3 hours. I had my BMW then in Virginia Falls Church. I drove from Virginia to Ohio, Canton that night. It was raining cats and dogs. Sometimes visibility was poor. but I'll keep on praying and keep on going and say, God, this is mine. Do not deprive me. I go to Ohio Canton early, relax a bit in the car. The appointment was for about 10 a.m. Went to the bathroom, freshened up a bit, then went for the meeting. They gave me a tour. I was like, damn, this is serious business. But keep in mind that I had never been introduced to ATMs. I didn't really know much about ATMs. So I went in there, they gave me the tour. I asked a few questions. Then they served tea. We sat down to talk. And I said, like, guys, I know I am not qualified. I don't have what it takes now. But there's only one guy who is going to do your brand justice in Ghana. And not just Ghana, but in West Africa. And this is why I think I'm a winner. Now, all of these guys are going to be pushing boxes. Pushing boxes is not what is going to win the market for you. We need innovation. We need an innovative model. And that is what I bring to the table. And how is that going to work? We are going to offer these banks what? A turnkey solution in a way that, look, they have no choice but to do what? To go with Diebold. Because with a turnkey solution, they can't bring in any other brand. They can only go with Diebold. And all the banks have to do is to do a flat monthly fee. So revenue model is key. So the white guys were seated there. There were 5 or 6 of them were sitting at the conference table. They were listening, they were talking. And I said, yes, this is it. I don't have what it takes. But I'm telling you that, look, give me time. I am going to show you guys that, look, I'm the right man for the job. I don't want you guys to regret it. Give me a chance. If I fail, then you took a chance on a guy who came to talk and didn't deliver. The guys looked at me. We took a break. And I was very nervous because I went alone against all of these guys seated there. But whilst I was pitching, I realized that, look, they were beginning to relax. They were beginning to become friendly. But don't forget that prior to that, I had already started learning how to do what? Negotiate, because I had gone to London to negotiate with the BEN guy on the content for the media stuff. So I started learning how to negotiate and how to talk. And also don't forget that I had also become a Toastmaster. Okay? So as I say sometimes, most of the times we do things and we don't know when it's going to be of use to us. Okay? So whilst I was doing my Toastmaster, sessions and things like that, God knew that He was preparing me for a moment like that with Diebold. Okay? So whilst at that conference table, I had to use all my Toastmaster skills. My voice had to be deep, it had to be confident. My choice of words, my mannerisms, my eyes, the way I looked at them, I had to deploy all the skills I had learned from Toastmasters. Okay? So thereafter, then they were like, you know what? Okay, Mike, you've done a good pitch, but we can't guarantee you. But Ghana is under the South African office, and there's a guy there called Ridwan who is responsible, okay, for your market. So he has to do his assessment and then decide whether he wants to go with you because that account belongs to him. So I got Ridwan's contact. I drove back that same day to Virginia. So that was 14 hours drive, 7. Okay. When you're determined and you want something so bad, you give it your all. So that when it doesn't come, you don't look back and regret. You don't look back and regret. So let's not do things half-half. So I drove all the way back, very tired, fatigued, but I came back with hope. Then I knew that, look, I had cleared the guys in Canton, Ohio. The next thing I had to do was to clear Ridwan in South Africa. So I got in touch with him. I told Ridwan, look, I'm going to be in Ghana in the next couple of months. I want you to come and check out, what we are doing. And I want you to give me the distributorship. He said, Michael, we've already told you from Ohio that it is gone. I said, Ridwan, meet me in Ghana. A month or two after, Ridwan comes to Ghana to meet me. At that time, I'd already come to Ghana and I was looking for office spaces. I found an office space in Roman Ridge, opposite the Indian High Commission. There was 3 big buildings on the plot. I took Ridwan in there. I spoke to the security. He gave me access. I went in there. We couldn't get into any of the offices because I didn't have access. I hadn't sealed the deal then. And I told Ridwan, this is going to be Cornet's head office. You see? These are the reasons why we need Diebold distributorship. These are the reasons why you have to give it to me. Use your head, my brother. He looked at me and he knew I was a crazy guy. One, I didn't have a track record. I didn't even have a secured office space. I'm showing him an office that was locked. Thereafter, I told Ridwan, you know what? Can you airlift one ATM for me as a demo unit? Because I want to start marketing on the ground. He looked at me, he thought I was crazy. Long story short, we secured the Diebold distributorship. We beat the odds. So now I had the second largest manufacturer of ATMs in the pocket. The next one was the host security module. And keep in mind, at this point, I've realized that, look, in life, try and get the best you can get at any point in time. So the best security module provider in the world was Thales. I think it's French-based, Thales. They own 70% of the market share. So if you talk about HSM, it's always going to be Thales. And I didn't want any other brand but the number one. So I approached Thales and I got Thales as well. Added it to the kitty. Then now came the time to select the EFT switch. You had Mosaic, which was in South Africa, which later became Postilion. You had some other ones in India. But the one that I found that I chose was one from Oasis Technologies in Canada, which later got purchased by FIS, huge American company. So I zoomed in, selected FIS, Oasis, IFT switch as they call it by Oasis Technologies, later FIS. I got the data card machine from Sambus, who actually also fought for the Diebold distributorship and didn't get it. We became friends later, so he supplied that. I got the cards from Malaysia. Then I got a pin millers from Lithuania. So I made sure that all the pieces that we needed in our offering was top of the line. Was top of the line. So when I look back, the key lesson for me was always rise above your limitations. Become an eagle. The game of life is like that of chess. You have to know when to move your queen, when to move your king, when to move your castles, your pawns, and your bishops. And sometimes you don't move them alone, others move them for you. Remember one of the sessions I talked about, the guy had contacted in India, who lived in Saudi Arabia, asked him to leave Saudi Arabia, go back to India, and then set up, my software development company there. Now, when I needed ATM engineers, he was the same guy I contacted, and he actually shipped me 2 ATM engineers, Indians, who came over to stay and work here in Ghana. Not only did we secure Ghana dealership for Diebold, we got Liberia, we got Gambia, and we got Sierra Leone. We, myself and Cornet, brought Diebold into these markets. Now, what people don't know was the dangerous trip I took that Wednesday night till morning to drive all the way to Ohio to pitch, and then drove all the way back. And the reason why I did not give up was I had said to myself, I am coming back to Africa. I am not going back. I am coming back to set up a business where young people will come and learn, make mistakes, dare, be crazy, and also have fun. But what I didn't know was that the years ahead are going to be brutal. As an adventurer, there are times when you have self-doubt. There are times when you wonder whether this journey is worth it. Next week's session is going to be entitled The Showdown. The Showdown. That's when it gets more interesting. So until we meet again next week, no matter what your dreams are, what your aspirations are, hold on. Don't let go. Put one foot in front of the other. You're going to be okay. Thank you. Take care and good night.